All right, what's up, heavy hitters? Today, we're gonna teach you how to do the sumo deadlift. This is not my specialty at all. I've never even done sumo in my life, but Pete is the expert, so is Chris. They both use sumo. And yeah, I'm gonna learn technique along with you guys, and I might even try to learn it with Chris teaching me. So Pete is gonna kick it off right now, and he's gonna take you through how he sets up and how he does sumo. So go ahead, take it from here, Pete.
All right, cool. So everyone's gonna have a pretty much different stance, like on how wide you're gonna go. I got pretty short legs, so I'm like inside of these rings right here. So line up inside of these rings, and the biggest thing is probably pushing out on the knees to set up, like to get into your stance. Normally people just come in right here and gain up, and you'll see like their knees just cave in really hard. So always got to be toes in line with, your knees in line with your toes. And from here, just grab your grip, really push out on your knees. And you want to see everything like in one motion. So just try thinking as you're pushing your knees away from your body and bringing your chest up. Coming straight back up. And for me to when I teach people how to do it, I always like doing like tempos or like eccentrics on the way down. So as I go up, I do the same thing on the way down. So hips back, chest up. Very slow. And then I just like to keep the tension. So I'm really tired here, softly on the ground, and just mimic the same thing on the way up. And yeah, there's a million other key points we'll get to talking, but that's pretty much like the most basic I would tell people, because you start throwing too many things and thinking, it's gonna just kind of throw you all off.
We're gonna teach Big Boy how to do sumo today. Before we started filming, we were kind of laughing about it, just the thought of him doing sumo, just because he's never done it. But it's actually a very complicated movement, so everything comes down to balance. So if I look at the stance, it's conventional, so much closer inside my hips, which if I look from the side view, that makes more width. That's more balanced. So the second I put my feet out wider, I'm actually able to sit at a more vertical position, which creates imbalance. So instability is everything. So when we talk about sumo, the first thing that happens is stability of the feet. So look at Big Boy. We usually want to go with the width of the feet, slightly outside the shoulders, with the, like Pitt said, with pointing out a little bit slightly. I say at 45-degree angle. So if I were to cut off an angle from the bar to where his foot is, that would be a 90-degree angle right here. So a 45-degree angle is what we want to shoot for. We could talk about width. There's a quasi sumo, there's a wide sumo, there's like a normal sumo. We'll just go over the normal sumo. Usually it's what the shin of your leg should be perpendicular to the floor. So if I'm here and as I come down to the floor, that shin should be perpendicular to the floor. That's the most distribution of power that we're looking for. So whatever that width is for Big Boy, so just kind of go.
You're perpendicular, buddy.
Yeah, perfect SAT word. Yeah, so when you squat down now.
Bar, though.
So when you squat down, try to get to see where your shins are perpendicular to the floor.
Right here, like that?
Put a little more in.
So that would you actually have a pretty natural position there, like an old lineman.
Easy.
So when we talk about that, like people said, pushing out on the feet, that will actually rotate, cause the rotation of the hips too. So we want to be posterior tilted. So when I squat down, I'm actually rotating those hips forward so that my hips can be over the bar. Let's say put your nuts on the bar. A lot of people do anterior pelvic tilt, so that tilt back that we talked about in other videos, and that causes way too much tension in the hips and causes too much tension in the lower back. So he naturally does it, so I'm not gonna make a huge point on it. So we'll talk about the hands. So when you come down for your hands, sumo-wise, you want it straight down on the shoulders. You don't want to be over wide and too close in, because you have to be naturally locked into your back. Arms as long as possible, like we talked about in other videos. When we talk about pulling yourself over the bar, it's pulling slack. So as the hips rotate forward, the chest rotates back without having any compromising of the lower back. So just like a kind of conventional, try to do the same exact thing, but just try to sit up a little bit higher in the bottom position. It's really not even that bad. Your upper body is so big.
Yeah, you have such an upper back strength. You get at it.
Does that feel weird?
just I can feel my glutes.
Yeah.
You know?
Because they're weak.
That's about it.
Doesn't do glutes.
So that's the it's all about leverages. So obviously when your feet are a little bit wider, your abductors, which is that muscle group that runs through the hip, that engages at a faster rate and a higher rate too. So you heard him say that he feels his glutes more engaged. He has actually he has actually really mobile hips. It's just he's so big, so it's like hard to get to that point sometimes. But it's actually not a bad position for him. So, I mean, football probably made it like so that it's more comfortable for him because that's actually like a D lineman stance for him. But
Something similar, huh?
yeah. So you want to try it again?
Yeah. Let's see.
So it's like you could bypass a lot of the problems from a sumo by purely just staying balanced. So he knows how to rut his feet into the floor, so that almost undercomplicates it completely for him.
Full hook grip will make it easier.
Well, no, so this is so light.
You know, but I just help your shoulders. It's so tight.
It's actually not bad. I think you are. Like people said, the eccentric or that slowing phase, it shows your body where it needs to be powerful. So if, like we've said in other videos, if you want to find out that proper position for yourself, take it from the top, take about a 5 or 6 eccentric, so like that negative, take it as slow as possible. Your body will actually shift itself to where it's most powerful and most stable. All right, so we're gonna go a little more in depth with like body lean. So if you look on Instagram or anything like that, or YouTube, that's probably one of the biggest arguments is how should the body be in that position. Okay, so everybody that I've seen, well, like the moderate amount of coaches will say that it has to be as vertical as possible, like that. You know what I'm saying? Like so that body, that torso is like that. The problem we see with that is that there has to be a thoracic extension through the back to get to that position, and like we talked about in the videos before, that makes your core weak. Longer means weaker, so we want to stay compact and have that rib cage drawn down. That's actually something that we've really kind of went over and drilled a ton with Pitbull in his off season, is drawing the rib cage down and not rotating the hips. So it's not what it looks like, it's what it feels like. So we want to feel powerful. So what we're gonna do is just look at Pitbull's from his side angle, so you can kind of get a gist of what that body length should look like. So right now you can see that posterior tilt in his hips. He's actually almost like trying to pull his hips over the bar, and when he goes, he pulls a slack out. He will become vertical, but not too vertical. He's not powerful. So just go like 5 breaths. So the biggest key is trying to get those hips over the bar, and then wherever your upper body and your upper back lies, it just lies where it is where your mobility will be. Go 2 more. Good. So that's probably one of the biggest things I would change with like most sumo pullers is that they're trying to achieve that vertical position. So like, if I'm in the bottom and I'm trying to be more vertical, if I think about that way, I'm going to try and do this with my back, and then when I do this, my arms become shorter. So when my arms become shorter, then my leverages become worse. This is a pure leverage lift. You could be weak as hell but have great leverages and then pull 700 pounds. We've seen it like with a lot of powerlifters. The great powerlifters that you see in the world have long ass arms, and they have moderately long legs. Some have short legs, but the leverages are all between the torso and the arms. Pitbull is like really well rounded, so he can pull 700 both sumo and conventional. We'll try to max out big boy one day. I have like the equal leverages too, so I've pulled sumo over 7, but it's not my lift. You have to be so in tune technically that you can't get hyped up. So there's a lot of times I'd get hyped up and then you lose your form. So Pitbull's very sound, very technically sound, so he's able to stay calm but like concentrated during his lift. So technique is everything in that process.
Just going over like a basic thing, like you see a lot is when people, anyway, like conventional or sumos, when people like, when they start, everyone wants to be explosive, and you think like yanking on the bar is gonna help you build more momentum from the floor. But I used to do it too, like all the way till I got up to like 600 pounds, and I probably was at a big plateau because the amount of the weight, the whip would kind of get me really stuck. So when you get your grip, what I tell people, what I like to tell them is lock your elbows. Just really get your arms nice and tight. And also, like even if you're going with the mixed grip, always to get your lats tight, you want to like bend the bar with the top hand. But yeah, the biggest thing is keeping the arms long before you pull. What happens is you soften up your elbows right here, and so that bar, you get the nice, like a big nasty whip. So just keeping your elbows long, pull back, come straight up. Just think about keeping these arms long. And obviously, if you pull too, you could also pull bicep, and that's really nasty. Nobody wants that. So just think about to keep those your elbows locked out so you don't jank on the bar. That'll help.
All right, so I learned something new today. I've never learned it before. I've seen Pitt do it, I've seen Topo do it, but I've never tried it myself. It wasn't as bad as I had thought, maybe just because I know the motion of conventional. So I might try it one day to mess around and see where I'm at. But my biggest question, and I know I've got this a lot, is how do you know if sumo is right for you? Like, how does Pitt know sumo is right for him? How does Topo know if it's right for him or conventional? So my biggest question to you guys is, how do you know if it's right for you or somebody else?
If you look at anything else, like any type of other sports, there's a checklist between what you should be maximizing your potential with. So if I play in football, you're not going to put some skinny kid at center and then some like big fat kid at quarterback. Like there's just a process of a checklist to see what kind of skills you have. Same thing goes with trying to max out your potential with deadlifts. You have to look at your leverages, you have to look at where your powers are. Like I touched on a little bit before, a long arm leverage makes it very optimal for someone, but at that point too, so if you have long arms, you're probably gonna be pretty good at both. If you look at Big Boy, he has a longer torso with shorter quads, so that's kind of like a good, cool kind of checklist for conventional. So he probably could pull more conventional than he can with sumo, but he probably still pull pretty high with sumo too, just because how powerful he is. Same, like I said, with Pitbull, he's more well-rounded, so like you have like kind of the both worlds. Looking at like if you look like at good pullers now, Kaler, what's his last name, Wolin? So he has long ass arms, so he has really long arms, and he has long legs but a very short torso. He can pull like 950 or 9-ish.
Yeah, I think 930 or something.
So that lankier look is what sumo it's maximized that because of the leverages. A short torso is everything when it comes to sumo because you can sit more vertical without having to compromise your core or your back position. Conventional, I mean, everybody can do conventional, but you can see the people that have the type of leverages that their back gives way too much and then their legs don't work enough. So we see that every day when we're looking on Instagram or wherever. People mentioned earlier that they're just kind of throwing in those accessories that can kind of prepare you for that type of load. What kind of exercise were you talking about?
Like wide stance and goblet squats, anything with like just a wider base, even if you're to do wide stance, like back squats like that, it would just help, get your glutes more and your abductors and your hamstrings. But yeah, and then I remember when I first tried like sumo in conventional, like for me it was just like, because I've never deadlifted before, it was like someone told me just pick up 135 conventional and do it sumo. It was like what felt natural with me not knowing how to do sumo besides like just pick it up with the wider base, and they both felt really easy. So it was 135, but sumo just kind of felt like a little bit easier, probably because the range of motion, and I do have a short torso and I have strong legs, so it probably just felt like a little bit more easier. So I just stuck with it since. But I still would do conventional work. That's why I can still do both. But that's why I recommend anyone, if you want to see if it's right for you, just try it. Just go wide, do a basic stance, pick it up, and if it seriously does feel funky, and you're trying to get better at it, it's not for you, and just stick doing conventional.
Cool. My an outsider view or perspective, I see that sumo, you have a lot less pop off the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your lockout's stronger.
Yeah, and your lockout will be stronger.
That's why I said before, you can't get really hyped for it. We get all fucking riled up for conventional, and then when you get so explosive off the floor because the quads are firing at a high rate, you can't do that, especially with the instability of that wide stance. So you see a lot of people that pull fast on the floor and then they tip over at the top. Yeah. Because they're so anxious to get up there that stability is lost in that process. Okay. Like you said too, with the accessories, like the hips, the adductors, the abductors are everything in sumo. So
Yeah,
a
even
lot of
just
people
those-
don't have that mobility. So you have to work a lot on your mobility. If you can't open the hips up like that, then you're definitely not going to sit in that position. Big boy's probably sore from that, just from like open legs like that. So we'll see tomorrow. But the other thing I was going to touch on too is just the concept of like people saying it's cheating just because it's a different range of motion. If I put my hands super wide on bench press and I bench press like that's not cheating. You know what I'm saying? It makes it hard. The range of motion is taken out a lot, but you're actually taking like a lot of muscle groups out too doing that. So not just because there's a shorter range of motion doesn't mean it's easier. Leverage makes it everything. So if you have shitty leverages, then you're not going to pull nearly as close to you would on conventional. So it's just that's a topic I feel like is like through the industry that's talked about a lot. So.
I just feel like it's your preference. Visually, to me, no offense like to Pitbull or wide benchers, but visually it looks ugly to me. So that's why like, I know like especially when we bench, we would never want a big arch or we would never want a super wide because visually, you know, a nice even bench looks clean. You know what I mean? To me, it demonstrates a lot of power and it looks clean to me. You know, so visually it looks nice. I wouldn't want to bench like that. And with sumo, to be honest, because pit is shorter and more compact, it doesn't look as bad to me as having, you know, like a taller dude do sumo and it looks like it barely lifts off the ground or whatever.
Feet are to the weights.
Yeah, always to the weight. So for me, it's more like a visual thing. I always started lifting off because, you know, it looked dope and all that kind of stuff.
Not even
So
just
when I
that,
went
but
to
we played football and you learn how to bench in here. You don't punch someone out here. It's like, to me, that's not functional if you're bench pressing out here. Because when are you gonna ever push someone like that in life? Like you'll never. You're gonna pop someone like that. So that's why we've always been. I've even tried going out wider, and it hurt my shoulder. So
And to talk about the visual aspect too, like we've compared Pitbull to like Ed Cohn's like type of deadlift, that quasi look, like because there's just a lot more power in there for him. So it doesn't look as wide. So you see like Pitbull's feet, it's not like to the, if he could do the damn splits on the thing and then barely pick it off the floor, but he's still kind of closer, so there's more compact, so there's more power off the floor. What makes it slightly a little harder, but he's just maximizing his leverages, like I said.
Oh yeah, cool. I hope this helped you guys. Like we spoke at the end, there's a lot of different exercises needed to strengthen your sumo. So if you guys want to get the dead game program or heavy hitter, make sure you guys mention that you're doing sumo or conventional because Topo will cater you to that. And yeah, I hope this helped you guys. I know for me, I learned a lot. If you guys have any more questions or want to learn different things about sumo or other lifts, go ahead and comment below, and we're going to try and knock out more and more videos. We just want to know what you guys want to learn, man. You guys are the ones that are watching and following, so we want to give tips and ways to lift to you guys. So appreciate all the love and support, heavy hitters. Keep banging out there.